Hey, what's up everybody? It is Sunday, August 23rd, just after 12 o'clock noon here in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Welcome back to Cole's Farm. If this is your first time watching the channel, please subscribe if you like this video and hit the bell or ring the bell and you'll receive notifications of future videos. So I'm over here at hive number 2. I have given them 3 weeks to the day between inspections, so just kind of curious to see how that affects the colony. Coming out weekly is fantastic during the nectar flow to prevent, mainly to prevent swarms, or hopefully to prevent swarms by catching queen cells and everything. But once the nectar flow ends about mid-June to the first week of July, there's really no need to inspect them weekly, which is why I've given them 3 weeks between inspections. This hive appears very strong. Usually beards very heavily in the afternoon, and you can see from the amount of bees hanging out on the front porch there, you can usually guess a hive's population just by what the front porch looks like. And then also, if you open up the telescoping cover or migratory cover, doesn't really matter, and you see a whole bunch of bees on the top bars or on top of the inner cover, usually a good sign. Alright, so first things first, I'm going to take a look at the top box that's been on there for about a month and a half. I've provided them at least 3 gallons of sugar water so they can draw out the comb. Again, 3 weeks ago they were making very nice progress, so I would assume they've continued to do so. And then I'll get down into the brood chamber, or the bottom box, the deep, and just check out the colony's health, look at the brood, see how that's looking, any signs of disease, whether that's deformed wings, or if the bees are uncapping the capped brood, which is usually a sign that the mite count is pretty high. Regardless, I plan on treating this afternoon anyway, because I can get 3 treatments in before a few other things take place. And then hopefully I can find the queen. So, like usual, enough of me yapping, let's get into the hive and see how things are looking. And that's something else I keep telling myself, if you're wondering what I was doing just then, because I don't have a queen excluder on. I keep telling myself to pay attention to the inner covers for the queen, because there is the potential she is hanging out on one of the covers, because that's happened before. And this is really what I wanted to see in all the colonies. So this, again, this top box was brand new foundation, and in a matter of about 6 weeks and a few gallons of sugar water later, look how much wax they've drawn out. So I did this last year with 1 colony as an experiment, and it worked really well. It took them about 6 to 8 weeks to completely draw out the super, and for the queen to move through and start laying eggs in it. So I'd be pretty happy to see brood up here with the amount of wax you can see from the top. And I'll probably move a few frames around, kind of checkerboard them a little, the outside frames that they haven't really drawn out too much just yet, but this is exactly how I was hoping things would work rolling into the fall, and especially over the winter. Yeah, look at that. Nice new wax. I mean, these bees look like they're sleeping. They might be napping on the job, really. Nice new wax. Nectar, most likely sugar water being stored in it, which is totally fine. I'm not going to harvest any of this, so they can store the nectar or the sugar water, really. That's what I wanted them to do as far as winter preparations. Same here, check that out. Almost that entire side, they've drawn that out. They've drawn out, I think, practically every frame. It's nice when plans work out sometimes. There we go. So that's something else I have to keep in mind too, now that I have found brood in the top box. That also means there is the chance of the queen being in the top box too. So I just have to keep that in mind. Unlike a honey super that you can pull the frames pretty quickly because you have a queen excluder, you know the queen's not up there. But yeah, check that out. This is exactly what I wanted to see. That is very nice. She's expanding the brood chamber. Very typical. This is frame number 4. And they have a ton of food to use too. Fantastic. This is the exact plan I had in mind. I'm gonna have to do something with the frame next to this one. It's, you'll see here in a second. They're just drawing out some really wonky looking comb. That ain't gonna work. This here, I don't know about that. I hate to do it. That's a lot of, it's just honestly a lot of work for them. But they just need to make better comb, really. Maybe they'll figure it out. Same thing on this side. I really wonder what's causing them to draw out comb like that. All I can do is try and help rectify it. Ain't doing it. That was a lot of work for him, but maybe that'll help promote him to build it out better. And you know what? Between this one, what was it, the one next to it, I'm just going to set these aside. I'm going to put those on the outside, because these actually look okay. Yeah, they're drawing this out nicely. Yeah, so the queen has a nice little few patches of brood right in the center. It's pretty typical, but it's really nice to see the bees, hive number 2, using the sugar water wisely to do exactly what I wanted them to do. Alright, so these frames that just aren't the best, I'll put the sides that they've already started to draw out a little. I'll put those facing the inside, as you can see. Move a few other frames around a little bit. See if that helps them at all. Get this centered up. Give them some smoke. Yeah, that's awesome. So they have a ton of food stored up, and then whenever they need the food, they can use it, of course. And then the queen can go behind the bees once they've moved the food out of the way, and expand the brood chamber. That frame's broke. It's gonna be a pain. Oh wow. Look at that brood. This queen is just going into overdrive. Oh man. Check that out. That's a nice brood frame there. Look how pretty that is. That's new wax. New wax and very nice fresh pollen to draw it out so light. I'll set that aside because the frame right next to the feeder, which usually doesn't have too much going on, actually looks like they're using this space nicely. Yeah. You can see the little pupated larvae and maybe some eggs. This is the side that faces inside the hive, but the queen she's expanded the brood chamber onto the very first frame. So that's fantastic. And now hopefully you can see the difference. This is older comb, which typically generates darker brood like that for whatever reason. Small patch of drone brood in the center there, top center. This queen is marked, so she should be easy to find. But yeah, to have brood on the very first frame it's a very nice sign. A ton of pupated larvae on here too. Yeah, she's doing real well. I'm not going to grab the flashlight to look, but that open patch of uncapped brood there, or open cells, I would imagine has eggs and larvae in those as well. Just judging by the rest of the colony so far. Oh, this is the frame that's falling apart. Actually, let me grab my flashlight just because now I am curious to see if she's filling in. Oh yeah. Eggs. Eggs in every cell. Very easy to find, or easy to see, even with the dark comb like that. Yeah, this hive is definitely healthy. Every single frame has a ton of pupated larvae, which will be capped here in the next week and then hatch out in probably about 2 weeks. So like I was saying in the intro, you can't judge much by the front entrance, but when you have a hive that beards as heavy as this does in the afternoon, evenings, and then with that many bees just hanging out on the porch in the middle of the day, you can make the assumption that they have a pretty strong population of bees. Alright, last frame. I found queens on the last frame several times this year because I think they know when to avoid me. Alright, well, it doesn't look like we're finding the queen this week, but this hive looks very good, very strong. Ton of brood. That should hatch out by mid-September. So that's good for them. That'll help them capitalize on any bit of a fall nectar flow we have, which could or should be goldenrod. We have quite a bit around the house that's growing nicely. So let's get them put back together. What's going on here? Okay, that's that, and they actually could use some sugar water, and I do have some available. Let me get the funnel. This ain't much, but something's better than nothing, I suppose. I don't really think they need all that much. They have a ton of food stored up top, but it'll at least provide them with something to continue to draw out some wax. All right. Put that back on. Oh, need the cover. It's a hot one. I think the heat index is in the mid 90s and it's pretty humid. All right, well, there you have it. Hive number 2, looking very, very nice. And that's a typical well-populated post-inspection look at the front entrance, front porch of a hive. Yeah, they look really, really well. Didn't see the queen, but ton of brood. So they're obviously queen right. Ton of eggs, really. And they have done exactly what I wanted all the hives to do that I've been feeding with the division board feeder, and provided medium boxes with new foundation. They have drawn out the entire box, and the queen has started to lay in it all within about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, no more than 8 weeks. So that's exactly what I wanted. Geez, that's exactly what I wanted all the hives to do going into the winter, because it gives them just that much more space for the queen to expand the brood nest, and that much more space to store food. So there you have it, August 23rd. Quick look at hive number 3. So hopefully you liked the video. You'll hit the bell to receive notifications of future videos and subscribe to the channel. And if you are around the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, we do have our spring honey harvest bottled and available for sale. If you just use the Book Now button on Facebook and Instagram, you can easily make an appointment. So hope to get some honey in your hands. All right, that does it for me. Got a few more hives to inspect this week, and hopefully it doesn't take too long and the weather holds out. I don't think it's gonna rain. It's just really overcast. Not the nicest of days today, but it feels okay. Doesn't feel the best, but it's not 110 degrees, so I guess that's a win. All right, everybody, thanks for watching Cole's Farm, Jacksonville, North Carolina.